Good morning. From Metropolitan Baptist Church, I'm Brother Zane. We're going to be looking this morning, starting in Joshua chapter 7. I'm going to give you a few thoughts over the next few devotions that I have the privilege of doing on transforming your valley of trouble into a valley of triumph. And we see in Joshua chapter 7, verse 24 through 26, it says, "And Joshua and all Israel with him took Achan the son of Zerah, and the silver, and the garment, and the wedge of gold, and his sons, and his daughters, and his oxen, and his asses, and his sheep, and his tent, and all that he had, and they brought them unto the valley of Achor. And Joshua said, Why hast thou troubled us? The Lord shall trouble thee this day. And all Israel stoned him with stones, and burned them with fire, after that they had stoned them with stones. And they raised over him a great heap of stones unto this day. So the Lord turned from the fierceness of his anger, wherefore the name of that place was called the Valley of Achor, unto this day." A familiar story, I'm sure, growing up in Sunday school, you may have heard about Achan. The children of Israel went. They marched around Jericho 13 times in silence. They shouted the glory of God. God made the walls fall flat, and the children of Israel went into the city, and they were told to kill every single person there, save Rahab and those who were in her house. And they were to take all the spoil, the riches of Jericho, and they were to give them to the Lord, because God gets his first. But Achan went by, and his eye caught sight of some gold and silver and a Babylonian garment, and he took them and hid them in his tent. And because of his disobedience, the children of Israel lost to the next battle they went into, and they found themselves in the valley of Achor. The name Achor means trouble or disturbance. And so here, a whole nation, because of one man's disobedience, they find themselves in a valley of trouble or a valley of disturbance. And so sometimes we see that we'll enter a valley in our life because of our own sin, as Achan did. And sometimes we'll enter a valley because of somebody else's sin. And sometimes we just enter a valley because of the way life is. I mean, if you go up, eventually you're going to have to go down. If you're going down, eventually you're going to have to go up. And here the children of Israel found themselves in the valley of Achor, or of trouble. Now I want to look at a few things about transforming our valley of trouble into a valley of triumph. But I first want to look in this, for the next moment here, in this devotion, about the blessings we receive only in the valley. Now, there's certain things we experience spiritually on the mountaintops, but there are other things that you can't experience on the mountaintop. Spiritually, you have to be in the valley to experience some of these things. I'm reminded in Psalms 23, where it talks about the green pastures and the still waters. Those don't take place up on top of a mountain. It must be in the valley, or where there's green pastures, and there are still waters. The Bible even says in in Isaiah chapter 41, that He will make fountains in the valleys, just pools of water where there's peace. The Bible also talks about the Lord Jesus Christ being the lily of the valley. And you can't experience the lily of the valley up on the mountain, because it's not the lily of the mountain. And so there is something about the character of Jesus Christ, something about who He is, that resembles the lily of the valley. It's only experienced in those valley situations. And so as we think about certain things that you may be going through today, maybe you find yourself in a valley. Maybe you see there's a valley coming up ahead. I want to just encourage you and let you know that God has something special for you to experience that you will not be able to experience up on the mountain. And so rejoice in this valley. Embrace the valley. Make the most of the valley that you may be going through, knowing that God is able to transform it from a valley of trouble into a valley of triumph. So I want to leave you with that today. We'll be looking in the next few devotions on how or what this valley is transformed into. So God bless you. Embrace the trial that you're going through. Embrace the valley. And may God richly bless you as He shows you the great spiritual experiences you can only get in the valley.